What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to our big NCAA opening lines, early leans show on Monday, December 7th. We have our experts, John, Ryan, and Conor Mac in the house. We'll start with you, John. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. Had another winning weekend and really grateful for it.
Yeah, it was a very, very fun weekend, especially Sunday. Saturday, I went on this huge run. But then you know what? And I'm never going to make this mistake again. And it's just my own need for late night action on Saturdays is that I doubled up on Utah, and I've been doubling up on late night Saturday games just because I want the action, and it cost me a winning Saturday. But I won't get into that because Sunday was so glorious. It was a very profitable weekend. C-Mac, my man, how you doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here Monday. Saturday was kind of up and down, still good. And then yesterday, really good day in the NFL. Had a lot of fun. So I'm ready to get these lines.
Ready to attack. Our man Nolly Knows is sick, under the weather. So he just got tested. We don't know what if it is a dangerous COVID, but so just send Nolly all of our love and best. But I went on this big run. I got off to a poor start, but then I went on this run. Syracuse plus 34, Virginia minus 3.5, Florida, Tennessee under 63. I made a mistake with Indiana, which was a great look that John Ryan got us on. I got Indiana plus 13.5, but then I went on the team total over 14.5 at plus 110. And that landed on 14. But then Iowa cashed, Colorado cashed, Miami cashed. I went on this big run, but screwed it up, doubling up on Utah and Wyoming. Very, very, very disappointing. Thank you guys so much for joining us here, odds.com. I love this Monday show. We got Jack Cards 3, Jose Pompa, Ashley Waite, Amsterdam. What else? Marlon Z says that John Ryan time mofos. The real Jolly Roger says that John Ryan cranking up his sports machine. That's what John Ryan's doing. Stephen Martinez, David Sharp, Mike Fuchs Jr., what a great, great group. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Cash Action Bets, Alex Ramirez, Ben Taylor. All right, let's get to work, you guys, and thank you again for rolling with us. Thursday, we're going to do, as we always do, hammer these midweek games, and then both John and C-Mac have picked games they want to attack, and one of the games they both picked, unbeknownst of each other, is the same game, which is great. So we'll hear what their looks are on that spot. Let's get to work right now. We're going to start Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. Florida Atlantic Owls, 5-2, 4-1 in Conference USA at Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles, 2-7, 1-4 in Conference USA. Southern Miss opened up at Bet365 at 7.5-point dogs. They're now 8-point dogs. This total has opened up very low, as one would guess with Florida Atlantic involved. 41.5 or 42.5. And, when we talk about a low opener, we just think of our man Nolly. And he's been cashing on these Florida Atlantic Owls. And in that game at Georgia Southern, I don't know why I wasn't on the under. It was one of those games where I'm like, what? How am I not on this? We were at MM Roberts Stadium, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, 56 Fahrenheit clear, 2 miles per hour. It's another situation where we're dealing with great weather this weekend. Florida Atlantic had their 4-game winning streak snapped, 23 loss to Georgia Southern. Southern Miss had its November 27th game at UAB canceled due to positive cases in their program. They were able to field a team the following week, but then UTEP had to cancel due to positive cases in UTEP's program. Southern Miss lost its second straight game last time we saw them, 23-20 at home versus UTSA. And we have COVID cases rampant throughout capping today that are going to add another layer of trickiness. Why don't we start with John Ryan, Florida Atlantic, Mississippi, Southern Miss, Golden Eagles. Take it away.
Well, these are two teams that are offensively challenged, to say the least. Their defenses are pretty good on the flash stats, but if you excuse me, it's in my throat there. If you adjust the numbers for strength of schedule and opponents, it paints a totally different picture on this. My lean would be on Florida Atlantic. This game is going to be low scoring. It's basically like a 24-18 type of game. And I would also lean to the under, as the model says that both teams will not exceed 21 points, either one of them. So, the better of the two plays instead of taking Florida Atlantic would be to take the under.
Maybe it's time to move on the under right now. Let's see what CMAC has to say. Owls, Golden Eagles.
I like the under as well. Both teams' defenses run the ball, but there's no way I want to lay 8.5 points with Florida with FAU here. No way. Even all the stuff that's gone through Southern Miss, right now I would take them getting 8.5 points, because if we think this under, like John said, I think this game could be a 20-14, 21-13. I mean, just low scoring. So when it's that, I want the 8.5 points.
Without a doubt.
So I'd lean the under as well. I don't think points will be scored, and I'd lean with Southern Miss for sure.
That is Thursday night, and again, beautiful weather in Hattiesburg for this Thursday 6:30 p.m. game between Florida Atlantic and Southern Miss. All right, let's move to the Thursday night spot. Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech. I went on, made a move on Georgia Tech, and it was a loss here. They're coming off their fourth loss in 5 games. They put up 56 points in a win over Duke. Follow that up with just 13 in a 2013 loss at NC State. Georgia Tech 3-6, 3-5 in the ACC. Going up against Pittsburgh 5-5, 4-5 in the ACC. Bobby Dodd Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia, 53 Fahrenheit, clear, 2 miles per hour. Pittsburgh 6.5 point favorites. That's where it's sitting right across the board. This total at 53.5 or 54. Pittsburgh was off last week. They were last seen on November 28th in that 52-17 loss at Clemson. Trevor Lawrence came back. Before that loss, though, they looked impressive. Back-to-back victories. First 41-17 at Florida State, and then 47-14 at home over Virginia Tech. Pickett's looked strong in those 2 games, and then they had that tough game against Clemson when Trevor Lawrence was just chomping at the bit to get back. Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech. Let's go with CMAC. You feel like there's a move that can be made here?
Yeah, I think the move here is with Pitt. I think they bounce back. This is just at 7 right now. I like Kenny Pickett, and when Georgia Tech loses this year, they lose. They get blown out. I think all their losses are double-digit losses. They're just a young team. COVID's hit them. They just haven't been good. They're one of those teams that are really young, new coaching system. They're not the old, Georgia Tech run it wishbone. They got this whole spread out offense, which over time I think they'll be a good team in the next few years. But I like Pitt in this spot, and I'd love it if it was under a touchdown. But I'm rolling with Pitt here and Pickett -7.
And you have 7s because I see almost 6.5s predominantly.
Do you?
Yeah, is it not in Vegas right now? It's 7s?
I have 7s all in Vegas. Let me look global.
It is starting to get juiced. So Bet365 has the 6.5 at -115 right now.
I see 1.
So interesting that this will be very likely at 7 very soon. If you want to get it under a touchdown, you should probably pull the trigger. CMAC wanting to back Pittsburgh as a road favorite here. The real Jolly Roger saying Pitt would be favored by more, if not for the Clemson game. John Ryan, what do you think of CMAC backing Pittsburgh here?
Well, I would agree with CMAC here. I'm looking at the betting lines myself. I'm seeing a lot of 6.5s, paying the extra big, 115. But so far, this is really action, but 80% of the money is on Georgia Tech, and the ticket numbers are split evenly at 50-50. 453 tickets have been bet, which is not a lot. Usually these games end up between 2,500 and 3,500, and this is a sampling of 20 different sports books. So it is surprising to me that Georgia Tech is seeing some significant money coming in, and I'm not really sure why, because everything that Connor said is true. The one thing I wanted to touch on this show is taking a look at the season totals by conference and compare them to last year. We've often talked about road teams having the advantage with no fans in the stands. So in the ACC this year, home teams are 53-27 straight up. The over has won the money 43-32.
Wow.
For 57% winners with an average total of 58 points. The average home line has been a favorite of -5.9. The home favorites are 42-35 with 2 pushes for 54.5%. And then this compares to last year, if you can remember all those numbers, where the average line was 3.6. This year, it's 2.3 points higher. The total last year was 55.1 for the entire season, and we're looking at 58. So I think all those things that we were talking about earlier in the season are now reality. The totals are higher. The home favorites are more, and the road team has the advantage. So in the ACC last year overall, the home teams were 83-92 with 6 pushes for 47% winners, and this year it's flipped. So I just want to throw that out as we hit each conference. I think it's interesting.
Very interesting. I loved hearing those stats. It just follows up with what we've been talking about. With that being said, you are comfortable with Pittsburgh as a road favorite with no crowd at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, at this point, I am. I'm like I said, I'm very curious why money's coming in on Georgia Tech for all the reasons that Conor Mac said. That's illogical to me, but it's day one. So by Thursday, we could see 70% of the money on Pittsburgh. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, I will be asking you guys for best bets on Thursday and Friday. So we have a nice Friday card, so don't feel like you have to be forced into using Thursday's best bets. All right, let's move on to Friday right now. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern, UTEP at North Texas. UTEP 3-4 overall, 0-3 in Conference USA at North Texas, 3-5, 2-4 Conference USA. It actually is UTEP. I mean, it depends where you look at. I know this game is in North Texas, but UTEP has been called the home team in some of these sites. The UTEP was expecting to play at home, I believe, and North Texas wouldn't travel. UTEP's been dealing with a ton of COVID issues. They haven't played since their third straight loss, 52-21 at UTSA on November 14th. That was the last time UTEP was in action. Their last 3 games and 5 of their last 6 have been canceled due to COVID. After 3 weeks of postponements due to COVID for North Texas, they've played 3 weeks in a row. So they're coming off back-to-back losses where they allowed 40-plus points. On November 28th, they lost 49-17 at UTSA. So they both have that similar opponent. And they followed that up with a 42-31 loss at home to Louisiana Tech last week. This is tricky. Capping a team that has not played since November 14th is tricky. Robert Cherry says, I like North Texas. And Eileen Marshall. We'll get into that. Marlon Z says that North Texas takes a shot with lunch money. I can understand questioning UTEP's preparation when they've been off for so long because they haven't just been practicing. They haven't been allowed to work together. And it's a tricky cap. John Ryan, UTEP, North Texas. What do you think?
Well, I think it's fair to say that North Texas will score 28 or more points. And just know that when they do, they're 70-27 the last 10 years in games where they score 28 or more. They're also 13-7 when scoring 35 to 42 points. So I think they get there. But it's a game that I think probably should be avoided, not knowing how UTEP is going to respond after all that time off. I've been talking about it being like the time off between a bowl game and the last game of the regular season is usually 4 weeks, sometimes a little bit less. But you really can't make that a fair statement because focus is on the bowl game during those times. Now it's focused on do we have enough players to play due to COVID. So I think this is a game just to simply pass on. There's some other outstanding opportunities in the card this week. And also in my stats here for the year, USA Conference, home favorites 15-36-1 for 29% winners.
Wow.
The total has been perfectly even. 55 has been the average total and a 6.8 favorite. So that compares to a 5.2 favorite last year, 54 average total versus a little bit higher this year. And home favorites were losers again, 116-132 for 47% winners.
Wow. it's so tricky messing with these teams I haven't played in 6 weeks, but my initial feeling would be like, wouldn't we want to attack them maybe first half? Let's see what CMAC has to say. North Texas at home to UTEP.
Both these teams are bad. They've lost 3 in a row. UTEP and North Texas 2 in a row. I think it's wild, though. UTEP's a 10-point favorite here. I mean, scheduling-wise. So UTEP's beat Stephen F. Austin 24-14. They beat Abilene Christian 17-13. I mean, I can't believe that this team is laying 10. If I had to pull anything here, I know North Texas.
I've got North Texas as the double-digit favorite across the board here. CMAC, sorry.
Why is mine flipped? Yeah. So I'm freaking out.
sorry.
I'm on Las Vegas Insider. Then they got it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. That's the real problem. No shit.
Yeah.
They messed this up. Yeah, it says UTEP as the home team, right? North Texas on the road, even though they're both not at home.
No, that's the messed up part. If you look up like ESPN, different places, they've got North Texas as the road team and UTEP as the home team, because I believe that was what was supposed to happen a month ago when they were going to play. But North Texas said they won't travel to El Paso. The COVID's completely out of control there, and they won't travel. And so that's why they've still got this listed as a supposed UTEP home game, although they're playing in North Texas.
Perfect. They got this goofed up. So if you're on Las Vegas Insider, don't look there. Then it's North Texas. They're the better team, but I don't want them minus 10, you know? So if they were under 10, maybe they're the better team in my mind. I've seen UTEP play this year. They're not very good. Both defenses are bad. UTEP hasn't played in weeks. With COVID, it's a pass.
Yeah,
That's what I was getting to, but but
it's all good. It is a little. There's so much confusing spots. So many confusing spots here. If you were to back North Texas, and I don't want to.
There it is.
Action. Yeah. What do you think of that first half spot with this UTEP team that hasn't played since November 14th? Because when John Ryan mentions these teams, 4 weeks up to a bowl game, they're practicing and preparing. These guys haven't been able to practice at all.
Yeah, you know me. I'm not big on first halves. I mean, I do play them, but this would be a good look if you won North Texas first half. I wouldn't blame you one bit. I don't think I'm going to get to the window doing it, but I like what you're saying. If you know.
And so what are we thinking? It's going to be a -6 first half?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds cheap.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be like 6.5, 6.
Yeah, I think it would at least open under a full converted touchdown.
That'd be a good get. I mean, I look at these later in the week, and even more now with COVID, and then maybe I'd pull the trigger with that. But I like the look early,
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's keep. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to pull the trigger on it, but it does seem like a viable option at this point. The real Jolly Roger says they're begging us to take UTEP, and he's absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right. We got DJ Big Boss, star of our Saturday shows, in the chat. Great to have you, DJ Big Boss. He's on Pittsburgh on Thursday, -6.5. We also have Nolly Knows, who would be on screen with us, but he is sick right now. Great to have Nolly in the chat as well. So Pittsburgh is a Big Boss move. Okay, let's keep rolling. We move on to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on odds.com. Charlotte 2-4, 2-2 in Conference USA at Marshall. And wow, Marshall, unbelievable. I mean, I didn't have any action on the game, but watching them get shut out 20-0 at home to Rice was shock and awe. Freshman Grant Wells, comes into the game, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season. Looks composed for a freshman. Throws 5 interceptions, and the offense just completely broke down around him. Jones C. Edwards Stadium, Huntington, West Virginia, 52 Fahrenheit, cloudy, mostly cloudy, 4 miles per hour. Again, there's just great weather across North America. Last week, Charlotte finally got back on the field after being off for over a month due to COVID. They lost 37-19 at home to Western Kentucky. And this was a Western Kentucky team that wasn't able to put any points up on the board until their last 2 games. And, they were easily putting up points against Charlotte. Marshall, 20-point favorites for the bounce back, and this total at 52. John, let's start with you. How do you expect to attack this game, if at all?
Well, the line implies a 37-18 final score, and going to introduce one of a new metric, and I call it, it's like delta points is what I nicknamed it. What it is the expected points minus what the machine is telling me they're going to score. So in this case, 37-18 is the implied outcome. The machine says that Marshall will not score 31 or more points. So we're working a little bit opposite. So the change in expected points would be 7. It's 37 minus 6 minus the 31. Okay, so teams that have done that where they're expected to score 37 and they only score 31. In Marshall's case, they have gone 10 and 40 against the number, or 20%, and they've lost the game 30 out of 50 times. The record's 20 and 30 straight up. Also, the under has gone 43 and 7.
Wow.
And that 86%. So I think my lean here would be the under because Marshall is supposed to score 37, and if they're not going to get anywhere close to that based on the projections, then it makes sense that for whatever reasons it's going to be a much lower scoring game than people think.
The under. That's a very interesting look. It just takes me I know there's college football. It takes me immediately back to the NFL this week. I had 5 unders and went 4-1 on them. I knew Nolly would be so proud. And one of them was the Packers Philadelphia under. And I got that on our Tuesday show at 46.5.
You mean the Green Bay?
Yeah, sorry. What did I say? Sorry. Yeah, Packers Eagles. Thank you. And 46.5. It shoots up to 49.5 on Sunday. And all I can think to myself is Nolly would double down here. He would trap himself. And all I did was shake in the corner with a bottle, sweating buckets. And, I mean, we cashed it at 46. But and the very interesting under here, Charlotte, Marshall. C-Mac, take it away, my man.
Yeah, we'll talk about another game that I have later with Nolly that makes me shake all the time, but I got to keep taking the under. I'm laying with Marshall here. I think they bounce back in a big way. Charlotte is bad. I mean, for Western Kentucky to score on them, I like that it's under 21. I think they put a whipping on them here. They want to, in the season playing well. I think they just take it to them. Charlotte is a bad team. Duke beat them like 53-19 2 weeks ago, and you saw how bad Duke is. Come on.
So you would be more comfortable with Marshall full, because I know you've already talked about you not liking first halves, but even this, if this is a bounce back spot, it sort of screams.
This is a double up spot. Sometimes I would do first half and full game.
Yeah.
For sure.
See, I just interesting. And what did you think?
I don't think, Jimmy, I think Marshall's going to be pissed. Charlotte is bad. They are not a good team. And Marshall's a good defense. That game was wild how they played. Those 5 picks, they've been such a good team all year, and they've been good. They've covered, they've put up points. Marshall's been really good. I think they come out real pissed and put this one away.
Very, very interesting.
And it's under 3 touchdowns right now, right? Minus 20.
It's at 20. And DH said Charlotte hadn't played in 36 days before Western Kentucky. He's right about that. The Czar, it's great to see you. The Czar says Marshall is a good pick. I would be more comfortable personally on the first half. But
take it.
Again,
I like it.
It doesn't I can understand why campers don't like only focusing on first half. Why not give yourself as much time as
I've always liked
if you have the
full game.
Yeah.
These teams come out. So, when I made the mistake, Jimmy, I did, because I've been doing it so much with Bama and Clemson. I still went 3-1, but I lost the first half with Clemson.
Yeah.
I won the full game, but I doubled up on Bama too. They came through, but I still went 3-1 in that because I've been riding that, all year and last year.
Sure.
But it can get you sometimes, but it's a little different game than Clemson. Virginia, Charlotte Marshall. So
I love the big boss call on Syracuse plus 34. That was a great spot.
Yeah.
And there was some great work last week. Maybe we should talk about more off the top. But John Ryan's call on the market not catching up to Virginia was another thing of beauty.
They haven't.
It was a thing of beauty, John. Okay. Charlotte, Marshall, John Ryan interested in the under, and double up spot for CMAC. John, we're going to move on here, but when you hear CMAC bullish on Marshall bouncing back here, are you comfortable with that idea, or you want to stay off aside?
Because conceptually, I guess is the word. If they score 31 points, that's a pretty good bounce back after a game not scoring any. So I would be comfortable with Marshall winning 34-10, 31-14, that kind of number, and that would be an impressive win.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Marshall's going to go into the 40s or 50s in this game just based on the math. But that always can happen. There's no one.
I think they got a shot. I think if Western Kentucky could score 37, Duke can score 53, North Texas 49. I think they got a shot, at least in the 40s.
You have to think
they definitely do.
You have to think that Grant Wells bounces back after that terrific performance. Okay, that's going to be a fun one. Even though we're talking about a 20-point favorite. All right, let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. The Pac-12, whether it's basketball or football, it's just a tricky conference. And this is a tricky game. Arizona State 0-2, Arizona 0-4. We're at Arizona Stadium, Tucson, 64 Fahrenheit, sunny, 10 miles per hour is the wind. Both teams searching for their first win of the year. Arizona State opening up as 9.5-point favorites. That's moved to 10. Again, that's a Bet365 opener. The totals all over the board. There's 54.5s, there's 55s, there's 56s. For Arizona State, they're coming off their first home game in more than a calendar year. Just the team's second game this season in a 25-18 loss to UCLA. Sun Devils had 2 consecutive games canceled because of COVID-19. Herm Edwards tested positive for COVID-19. They didn't only have the COVID issues, they indefinitely suspended defensive backs Jack Jones and Ashari Crosswell this week. Crosswell then, who was once an all Pac-12 honorable mention, announced he was opting out for the rest of the season to prepare for the NFL draft. And he'd already lost his starting job to DeAndre Pierce, but the fact that they get indefinitely suspended means that he probably lost his starting job due to off-the-field antics rather than on-the-field antics. Arizona has lost all 4 games to start the year. They're coming off a 24-13 loss at home to Colorado. They're only scoring 20 points per game. This is tricky. CMAC, you are over out west. You're in Vegas. Let's start with you with Pac-12 action. Arizona State, Arizona, is there an edge, a move?
I don't think so. I think Arizona State's the better team. How about Arizona jumping out to a 13-0 lead and just getting, Buffalo just stomping their foot down and winning that game and covering? I looked at this one and automatically I don't like it any which way. I like Herm Edwards. I don't like him laying 10. That first game against SC, they lost. They blew it there, and they've just been off all this time. And then they lost to UCLA, which I liked UCLA getting 3 the other night. I have no feel for this game. If I had a free play, I'd take Arizona getting the 10.
I understand why you would do that. Again, we're dealing with these teams coming off these COVID breaks. So both Arizona State and the aforementioned Charlotte 49ers, whom we just spoke about, played their first game in a long time off. Charlotte was off for longer. You have to think that second game back should be an improved showing. And
how much?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's DJ Big Boss says take the points and keep it pushing. Arizona State struggles on offense. Let's hear what John Ryan has to say. We are in Tucson, Arizona for 2 teams searching for their first win this season, Arizona and Arizona State.
Well, Arizona can't stop the run, obviously. They're giving up 286 to Southern Cal, 259 at Washington, 153 against UCLA, who with Chip Kelly, I'm surprised they even ran the ball that many times in a season, let alone a game. And Colorado last week, 154. And Colorado, as Conor Mac said, got off to a pretty shaky start there to begin that game. So the over actually comes up here now based on Arizona's inability to stop the run. You're going to play over the total with a total between 50 and 56 points with a team that has a poor rushing defense, allowing 200 or more rushing yards per game. And after that team gained 5.5 or more rushing yards per attempt in their last game. So they do pretty good on the ground, but they can't stop anyone on the ground, is that betting system. That's gone 37, 12, and 1 for 75% last 5 seasons. So I would definitely lean over in this matchup.
That's an interesting, very interesting system there, where the rushing not only runs the clock, but I'm sure it opens up the passing game if you keep 8 guys in the box. A lean to the over for John, Ryan, and a lean for CMAC towards Arizona at home plus the points. Okay, let's move up to the Utah Utes. And it's funny that I had this huge day on Sunday because on Saturday I ended the day extremely angry at the Utah Utes. 30-10 they were up and allowed 14 points late and didn't look as dominant as I expected them to be against Oregon State and Oregon State's backup quarterback. We go to Colorado, 4-0 to start the year. Folsom Field, Boulder, Colorado, 31 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 4 miles per hour is the wind. Colorado, lukewarm favorite here, -1.5 or -1. This total at 51, and I like both of these football teams. Utah coming off its first win of the season that I spoke of. That came on the heels of a 33-17 season opening home loss to USC, and they looked sloppy. And I watched that game. We were on USC, and they looked sloppy in that first game. And then that 24-21 loss at Washington when they looked seemingly in control. And I thought they were going to put their foot down on the Beavers' throats, and they did not do that. Colorado 4-0, coming off a 24-13 win at Arizona. That's the game that CMAC was just talking about. We just capped the Arizona spot. CMAC was talking about a 13-0 lead for Arizona before Colorado dominated the rest of the game. Let's go over to John, Ryan. We'll just keep flipping back and forth. John, Pac-12 action, Utah, Colorado.
Well, this game, I'm going to side on the under. As you mentioned, Colorado's coming off a win, low-scoring affair. This system is 110, 50, 56, and 1 push for 65% winners over the last 5 seasons. You're going to play under the total of 50 to 56 with a team that's off a win of 10 points or more to a conference rival and facing an opponent that is also off a win against a conference rival. And that's all there is to it. And that's brought in quite a bit of money in the last 5 seasons. So my lean would be to the under.
And that's also what the Czar likes. It's what Nolly Knows likes. And speaking of that game, the Washington-Utah game, when Utah was up 21-0, our man Arthur Meade Jr. in the chat made a move on Washington at that point, down 21-0. And I believe he got like 11 or 12 to 1. Picked up a quick $700 on that. Great job, Arthur.
Awesome.
CMAC, Pac-12, Utah, Colorado. Talk on the under here.
I'm on the under.
You already are.
My first look. Yeah, I like the under. I think this is just a good one. Utah, I think this game is, they're very young, their defense, but I think they're still good enough. I think this is a good old, just a tough football game. They're just both sound. They both don't light up the scoreboard. I love the under. I looked at this one right away. I'm on the under 50.5.
Under 50.5. And that goes with John Ryan's move. It goes with Nolly. It goes with Czar. It does not go with Cash Action Bets, who's leaning to an over here with Utah. DJ Big Boss says under too obvious, contrarian or pass for me. That's at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. All right, let's move on to the Friday night late game. This one's going to be fun. And I wish we had – it's good that we have a boss in the chat. Mountain West, where Big Boss does it best. Nevada 6-1 and San Jose State 5-0. This is going to be really fun. And it's not – I say verse, not at, because this is at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's 50 Fahrenheit, clear, 4 miles per hour. So San Jose, just like the Niners – the county's not letting them play at home, and so they've moved to Sam Boyd Stadium. I actually, C-Mac, we'll start with you. I'm going to talk a little bit more, but if you could tell us, it's Sam Boyd Stadium. It's just like 3,000 seater, right? It's a little guy?
No. Sam Boyd's got holds like 35,000.
Oh, shit, okay. Sorry. For some reason, I thought it was...
It's still not very big, but it's the biggest dump you've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, it's bad.
Where is
it? Bad.
Vegas?
It's out near right in Henderson, way off by the mountain on the east side.
Okay.
I'm not that far from there. I'm in Henderson, but not old Henderson. So it's like Boulder Highway. You ever been there?
No.
No? Okay.
Wow.
It's way out there. It's nowhere near their new place. Just put it that way.
Okay.
Where the Raiders are playing.
For some reason, I thought it was just this tiny little. Okay, my fault. Thank you for clarifying that. San Jose State is minus 2.5, and that 2.5 is juiced with the expectation that this will be threes very soon. This total has opened up very high at 56.5 or 57.5. Nevada bounced back from their 24-21 loss at Hawaii with 37-26 home win over Fresno State. San Jose continued its undefeated season by going over to Hawaii and beating them easily. The final score was 35-24, but they were up 21-0 after the first quarter and just kind of coasted in. Nevada, San Jose State, CMAC, Mountain West, take it away.
This should be a good game. I mean, both the quarterbacks here, Strong and Starkle have been great for their teams. I lean with San Jose State a little bit under a field goal, minus 2.5. I mean, and I'd lean the under 58 here. I think this is a good football game. Both teams that were not supposed to do anything this year, UNR with 1 loss and San Jose State undefeated. It's a tough call, but I got to go with San Jose State. I think they're a little bit better than UNR, and I'd lean towards the under. I think this game's like a 30, 24, something like that, 27-24, I don't know, something like that. I think it's close.
I like that. Real Jolly Roger says San Jose State did cover in Hawaii. Yeah,
Reno got whipped in Hawaii. Yeah, San Jose covered.
That was extremely bothersome. I doubled up on. Can't figure out what's going on when we get over to Hawaii this year for whatever reason. I thought Nevada was going to – I thought they were just a bad team. It was because I doubled up on San Diego State's bounce back when San Diego State destroyed Hawaii. But, of course, that was at San Diego State. And we're going to talk about San Diego State. It's on this card. It's the late game Saturday night. But San Jose State, terrible on the road, strong at home. I think that San Jose State is the better football team here. Let's hear what John Ryan has to say. Nevada, San Jose State.
Yeah, I agree. I think San Jose State goes to 6-0 and probably covers the spread pretty easily. This will be a lean for me. There's several team situational trends supporting them, one of which is 28 and 10 after 2 consecutive games where they committed 1 or less turnovers. And as we all know, turnovers are a pretty important factor in any football game. And when you take care of the ball consistently, it stands to reason that you're going to be in every single game you play. And that's probably where I can stop, actually. Head coach Brennan, since he's been there, when they commit 1 or less turnovers in the previous game, he's 14-3 with 1 push as the head coach of San Jose State. So it translates to the coaching factor, too. And I do think San Jose State's coach is the superior one. So you're slight favorite and the better coach and the better team on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, San Jose State.
I like it. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Loving the Mountain West this year. DJ Big Boss says lean San Jose State and under, but got to run the numbers. Arthur Meade Jr. also on San Jose State. DJ Big Boss saying San Jose State reminds him of Coastal Carolina. All right, there is your Thursday and Friday action, which brings us to Thursday, Friday best bets. Since I've been tracking the best bets as a group, every single week has been a winning week except for one where it was 0-3 with Mac. Midweek best bet.
Kicker to make that goddamn field goal, Jimmy. At least I would have got a push in the overtime. I probably would have went over. But
yeah.
Another day pissed me off.
It's tough. One of the toughest parts about us as handicappers is how the losses hurt so much more than the wins feel good, and we need to change that. Be aware of it. But yeah, so these best bets as a group have been cashing. All right, let's go. We'll start with John Ryan. Thursday, Friday, best bet.
I got to go with Arizona State.
Wow. Okay. Arizona State, best bet for John Ryan, and we're gonna give him. Let's do a little line shopping for him. We're gonna go over to the odds.com odds page and give him the best line we can find here on a legal licensed book, and we have Arizona State minus 9.5. Do you mind the minus 114 juice, or would you rather have a minus 10, a minus 110, or minus 10.5?
Minus 110, just to be fair to the people that are listening in the chat room, I guess, because even if it's minus 10, I'm still cool with it.
Okay, minus 10 at minus 110, and that's available at Points Bet. Sorry, Points Bet. All right, CMAC, Thursday, Friday, best bets.
You know what? I like Pitt under a touchdown, but I'm just going to take Marshall. Let's just keep with it. I'll do first half and full game. Let's double up here.
I can't give you the first halves yet. I don't believe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I'll give you the full game, Marshall, and you could get that 6.5 at Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
juice.
I'm going to bet it personally. Yeah.
By the way, DraftKings and Bet Rivers have moved it to 7.5.
I believe it.
All right, Marshall. Oh, but I can get you a 19.5 at minus 110 at FanDuel. Let's get you that. Marshall minus 19.5, minus 110 at FanDuel. Okay, great job, guys. We are off and rolling. Thank you guys all for rolling with us here on odds.com. We move on to Saturday's action. And these are games that have been picked out by our experts. So we're not just choosing games that will be fun to cat. We're choosing games that they want to move on. We start with a CMAC game in Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska. Minnesota 2-3, 2-3 in the Big Ten. At Nebraska 2-4, 2-4 as well in the Big Ten. Obviously, all their games are in Big Ten this year. We are getting a 9.5. There are a couple nines left. Nebraska favored, and this total is at 58.5. Due to positive COVID cases, we haven't seen Minnesota since their second win in 3 games, 34-31 at home over Purdue on November 20th. Nebraska hasn't missed a game all year in this difficult season. They've been fortunate. They're coming off a 37-27 win at Purdue. Both teams come in with suspect defenses. Minnesota allowing 34.8 points per game. Nebraska allowing 31.7 points a game. And CMAC has his eye on it. Take it away, Connor.
Yeah, I already took it. I've been off them for a long time, and they've been off for a little while. But I got it Minnesota. I just don't think Nebraska should be favored by 10 points here. There's just no way. I don't want Martinez. I know they've won the last couple of games. They don't impress me at all. I think when Minnesota comes out, they're healthy for them. I think they come out and stay. This game's close. There's just no way I want a Nebraska team laying 10 points right now. There's just no way with their defense, with the quarterback situation. I'll take a shot with Minnesota here. I think they can score with them and hang in this ball game for sure.
You got Cash Action Bets agreeing. You have Vizar saying Nebraska no D can't back them here. Switch quarterbacks too, which is a mess. John Ryan, Big Ten, Minnesota, Nebraska.
Well, I don't have anything that I'm going to be betting on this game, but I can support Conor Mac with this pretty cool system. You're going to play against home favorites of 3.5 to 10 points. after having lost 2 of the last 3 games, with the game taking place in the second half of the season. So I've adjusted that accordingly. So each conference has I use game number now instead of week in the database parameter. So my queries changed to game number. So as long as we're game number 6 or more, that would be the second half of the season. That system's gone 64% winners over the last 5 seasons, 65 and 35.
Nice. I like it. CMAC getting on the board with the Gophers, whom we haven't seen in a while. That makes sense. I think I might be rolling with you there, CMAC. I like the breakdown. Okay, let's move to a John Ryan spot. I was excited when John Ryan added this. I asked for an extra game, and John gave us a MAC game, and it's always fun tapping the MAC. We have Miami of Ohio, who's just 2-1 in the MAC this year due to COVID, canceling a couple games, at Bowling Green. 0-5 in the MAC, coming off a shocking 31-3 loss at Akron. And John had been excited about Akron finally getting favored. John, did you get to the window with Akron?
No, because I didn't want to lose any. I didn't want to lose $1 on 2 teams that are that bad.
Yeah, I
was so pissed at myself that.
Yeah, Akron was the play for sure. I didn't bet it either.
Yeah, I did. I was hoping someone did. I was hoping someone did. Miami of Ohio is 23-point favorites in this spot. This is a total at 51.5 or 52. We're in Deutsch L. Perry Stadium in gorgeous Bowling Green, Ohio. Miami had last week's game with Kent State canceled due to positive COVID cases in the Golden Flash program. So this wasn't on Miami of Ohio. And we have Bowling Green coming in, racking up just 11.4 points per game. John, when you wanted to break down this game, I was excited. I look forward to hear your angle here. Take it away.
I'm starting to wonder why I even picked this game. And Green was in it. But I'm going to be in honor of DJ. I'm laying the lumberyard on this one. Anything over 21-point favorite, I call a lumberyard, and I know he likes that. And if somebody in the chat room can ask him, if he wants my address to send the IPAs that I won on the Rutgers Penn State game, I'll send that in there. DJ,
you are running hot right now, John. You are running hot.
When you get to Vegas, I'll buy you a beer.
But we all know that
I needed a field goal. I can't believe Rutgers going to get a field goal. 1 touchdown all game, but it's pretty pathetic. If you would have said Rutgers held Penn State to 23, I would have been like, yeah, they covered that game. But nah, they won. You won.
That's a good point. So in the MAC for the year, the average total has been 60. Last year, it was 56. So it's increased by 4 points, which isn't really all that surprising. Home favorites have averaged 2.3 points this year, and last year they were 6-point favorites. Again, that reduction in the home favorite, I think, reflects the lack of fans and the advantage that the road team has. Even in these smaller venues, it can get loud enough where an inexperienced quarterback can get rattled because he can't make audibles and he knows he has the wrong play and da-da-da-da-da. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, I've been finding these conference stats pretty interesting. COVID year versus the normal year. So in this game, we're definitely on Miami of Ohio. It's for obvious reasons. Bowling Green's 2-13 as an underdog the last 2 seasons. 1-8 after failing to cover the spread in 2 of the last 3 games. And I could go on and sound like I'm drilling Bowling Green, but I mean, I always say it like this when somebody starts drilling a pro player or a college player, they have moms and dads and families, and if it was your kid on a team that wasn't so hot, you really wouldn't appreciate being told that, your son stinks at football and should have, gone on the swim team or something. But in this situation, it's the last game. I don't think Bowling Green has. There's nothing left in the tank. I don't know what to say. I think this is a 35-point margin victory for Miami of Ohio.
I see. I'm the opposite, John. I love talking about how these Bowling Green football players should be on the swim team. I like berating them. I have no care if they have parents. In fact, I hope their parents are divorced. So I don't have any compassion for these athletes. But you're a good man. And I agree with your look here on the Redhawks. Let's hear what C-Mac has to say on this spot here. Maction in Bowling Green.
Yeah, Maction. I don't love it. I mean, it'd be Miami, Ohio, or nothing. I don't like this spot at all. I got backdoored by Bowling Green. I'm not going to bet this game, but Miami, Ohio is the way better football team. They should win by 4 or 5 touchdowns easily.
Yeah, it just one thing. It's tricky. Some of these spots where you like with a team as bad as Bowling Green, I don't want to leave money on the table. So I can understand why Miami of Ohio is John Ryan's look. All right, there we go. A little Maction for you. We move on to a 3:30 p.m. spot that John Ryan has his eye on. Number 16. Oh, then I guess the new numbers are going to be coming out. This was the game I spoke of that both John Ryan and Conor Mac wanted to talk about. So we'll see if they're both on the same angle here when they talk about this game. Wisconsin 2-2 in the Big Ten. Iowa 5-2 in the Big Ten. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, Iowa. Wisconsin coming off their second straight loss, 14-6 at home to Indiana. I got greedy with that over 14.5 team total at plus 110. So I shouldn't have. I don't know how I didn't end up cheering at the end of that game. Lost a little bit of juice there. Let's see what we are dealing with from an odds perspective. Iowa opening up as 3-point favorites at Bet365. That's all the way down to 1.5 now. There are still a couple twos on the board. Wisconsin coming off their second straight loss, 14-6 at home to Indiana. They've only managed 13 points combined over their last 2 games. Iowa has now won 5 straight since the opening the season with 2 losses. They're coming off a 35-21 win at Illinois. John Ryan got us on Iowa, and we cashed that by a half point. Nice being on the right side of a half point for once. John and C-Mac both want to talk about it, but John, we'll start with you. Wisconsin, Iowa.
I'm going to be on Iowa in this game. And I guess it'll be the 3rd or 4th time this year I've been riding this horse. And Wisconsin, I don't think it's the Wisconsin that we have grown to know from seasons past. Indiana is a really great story. Can't say enough good things about the head coach Allen and his motivational abilities and how they did get that win. As much as I was shocked to see Wisconsin scoring only 6 points. Still, Wisconsin ranks best in the Big Ten in scoring defense. It's a team that I think now has very little to play for. Iowa does have a lot to play for. And another interesting wrinkle is that if Michigan doesn't take on Ohio State this Saturday, Ohio State will not be in the Big Ten championship game as it's detailed by the Big Ten commissioners now, which would then put Indiana in the final, regardless of the outcome in their game with Purdue. So there is a lot riding on this game, and it certainly supports Iowa because they're the ones that, if they win, they're more than likely going to be possibly in. Iowa has won 5 straight games, and Big Ten conference home teams on a 5 or more game win streak are 25-0 straight up, 15-9 against the spread for 63% winners over the last 5 seasons. Under head coach Kirk Ferentz, and by the way, Iowa's had 2 head coaches, I think, it might be over 50 years. Because who was the guy before Ferretz? He was there forever too. He had the Hayden. He had the dark sunglasses. Well, anyway, you talk about the coaching carousel every single year, and we got Harbaugh, I'd be shocked if he stays at Michigan. There's all kinds of other rumors, James Franklin, etc. But here you have a program that's had 2 coaches for like ever, and it's a tribute to him. But anyway, Kirk Ferentz has been the Iowa coach for 22 years. Iowa is 33-19 against the number for 64% winning bets when they have covered 4 or more of their last 6 games. So between the 25-0 straight up and that little coaching trend there, I'm on the Iowa Hawkeyes, and I would play it on the money line.
Iowa on the money line. Interesting. Okay, let's hear if C-Mac, who also wanted to break this game down, is on the same side or the other side. Let's hear it. Connor, what's up?
Yeah, I'm on Iowa here. I'm 4-1 with them, all year. It's just -1.5. Or you could take a money line. I mean, we'll see. It came out 3. I like anything under 3, and it's going a little bit in Wisconsin. If I'm in a tight game like John was saying, I want Iowa, I want Kirk Ferentz, I want his defense. This should be a defensive game, and it should be close. But when it's laying this short a number, they're the better team right now. Mertz, I think, will turn the ball over. Iowa's at home. I want them here in this big spot, and I'll take them. Either lay the short number or money line if you want to take a little juice. What do you have, Jimmy? All 1.5s or 2?
There's some books that are still hanging the 2.5, but it's at plus money. There is even a 1 on the board. Why do you think
that's what I see.
Coming in on? Why do you think in this spot money's coming in on whiskey?
Probably the bounce back, the public perception that Wisconsin only scored 6 points and they're going to be pissed off and they're going to play like the Wisconsin teams of previous editions, but I don't think this one is.
Yeah, remember the bounce spot they were supposed to have last week? Yeah. And they got shut out to Northwestern. So, they scored nothing lately.
That's a fact.
Both John Ryan and C-Mac backing the Iowa Hawkeyes to win their 6th straight game. Okay, let's move on to a game that was aforementioned. Purdue at number 12, Indiana. Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana. Purdue 2-4 in the Big Ten. Indiana 6-1 in the Big Ten. Purdue coming off their 4th straight loss, 37-27 at home to Nebraska. They've now lost back-to-back weeks at home to Rutgers and Nebraska. Wow. Indiana is coming off a 6th win in 7 games. We just spoke about it. Very impressive 14-6 win at Wisconsin. Indiana sitting as 10.5-point favorites. Let me see if I can grab a total here. 10.5-point favorites, and the total is between 52.5 or 53, depending on where you shop. This was a spot that John Ryan wanted to attack in the Big Ten. John, take it away.
Well, as I was saying in the previous game, Indiana, if Ohio State does not play that game, it's going to be Indiana in the Big Ten championship, regardless of the outcome of this game. So if we know that, the players know it, and even though Coach Allen is such a great motivator, he'll have his hands full getting his team to focus like they did the previous weeks, because Purdue has not played well, and the Indiana players know that they can smoke Purdue off the field. But then going out and doing it, sometimes it doesn't translate that well. So I wanted to talk about this game for that simple reason that this definitely will have an impact on Indiana. Purdue will come in and play their normal Purdue football. They haven't been really playing for anything for weeks. But they're still a quality team. I mean, they're still a quality Division I program. And despite their losing record, still can wreak havoc on a team that has so much to lose. But again, they don't really have anything to lose right now, because if they lose the game and Ohio State doesn't play, they're in. So that's where the danger is in this game. And I brought it up simply to outline that and say that I'm a pass. I would take Purdue, if anything.
That's the same thing that Cash Action Bets wants to do, back Purdue plus 10.5. Interesting breakdown. Let's see what C-Mac has to say about this Big Ten spot.
Yeah, I'd lean with Purdue as well right now, getting those many points. I think this one is a closer game than people think. I just think Purdue plays well here. Indiana looked okay, their offense with the quarterback. What is it, Tuttle?
Tuttle, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Indiana wins the game, but this might not be easy. They got to get past this. I just don't love it over like 10. When I get 10, 11, it's up that high. But hey, Indiana's 8-0 against the spread this year. 8-0. They've covered every game. So, you want to roll the dice and go against them, or you think they go in there fired up and take this one? There's a good argument I see on both sides.
Do you think you get to the window with Purdue?
I don't know. I didn't go into that game deep. I've loved Indiana. I bet them all year. I bet them out of those 8 games. I bet them 6, probably, and they've won every time I've covered. So I don't know if I want to pull it, but 11's up there. And I don't love Purdue, so it's a good spot. I think the number's right there where it should be. But I probably will have a play on this game by the end of the weekend once I get into it more.
Well, follow. Oh, say what, John?
Conor Mac said that Indiana's 8-0 for the season. So I ran a quick query here. Teams that are on an 8 or more game ATS streak and double-digit favorites are 14-1 straight up, as you would expect, but only 9-6 against the spread. So it does favor Indiana, but you can't trust a 15-game sample size to place a best bet. But I thought that was I was curious to know.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting spot. I have Indiana with just 7 games under their belt this year, but it doesn't matter.
Maybe that goes back to last year.
You must go back to last year. Yeah,
maybe
covered 8 straight then. But what does it matter? 7 and 8 is not a big deal.
Okay.
So very interesting. So you must follow our man C-Mac on Twitter. And I've got it right here. It's at Conor Mac Picks. At Conor Mac Picks. See if he pulls the trigger here. Okay, let's keep rolling. Next up, we're going to close the show up with 2 West Coast games. One at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, one at 10 p.m. Eastern. The first one is a John Ryan look. The second one is a C-Mac look. Let's get into it right now. John Ryan looking at number 20 ranked USC, 4-0 in the Pac-12 versus UCLA, 3-2 in the Pac-12. This is being played at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. USC coming off 4 straight win to start the season, 38-13 at home over Washington State. UCLA has now won 3 of 4 since the season opening loss at Colorado. They had to play 2 weeks without their starting quarterback due to COVID. He was back this past weekend. They won at Arizona State 25-18, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. USC 3.5-point favorites. This total at 61.5 or 61. And we are sitting here with Chip Kelly over 500 for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, in his UCLA Bruins tenure. John Ryan, we're in the Rose Bowl for USC UCLA. Take it away.
Well, I'll make it simple. I think USC absolutely destroys UCLA here. My power ratings are -8, but the machine learning has this as a 14-point or more USC win. The implied line here is 31. It's basically a 34, 20. No. 33. Basically a 33-30 type of game. So to get back to those delta point things, the expected total for USC is 33. My stuff says they're going to score 40 or more, and USC in that situation. Let me just pull it up here. USC 26-4 straight up, 28-1 for 71% winners when they've exceeded the expected score that they're supposed to get by 7 or more points. Hope I said that right. It's kind of hard to explain. It's easier to write it down on paper and show somebody than try to talk it through. But the expected total for USC is 33 points. My model says they're going to score 40 or more. This is their record when they've scored 40 or more.
If that's the case, is this over in play at 61 or 61.5, John?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's still very, very good, but it's not quite as good. It's 20-9, which is off the top of my head about 68% to the over.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I definitely would not play the under. If you expect one team to exceed the expected team total by 7 or more, but it is a opportunity to play the team total here, I think. I've been reluctant to do that because I feel like I get enough risk just playing the games straight up and then taking advantage of in-game line opportunities. But I'm pretty confident on this one, so I think the team total, which has to be approaching 35 when they do come out, I would take the over.
So you would take the USC team total over rather than the full game over?
Yes. Yep.
Very, very interesting. USC being backed by John Ryan. Let's see what CMAC has to say. We're Pac-12, 7:30 p.m. Eastern at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California.
I lean a little bit with SC. Both these coaches I'm not fond of. Helton always seems – I don't think he's that great of a football coach, and they find ways to lose. They're more talented than UCLA right now. I see it's already moved to 4, 3.5, 4. I've liked what I've seen out of UCLA. They've covered 4 in a row. They beat up on Cal with a backup quarterback, lost by 3 to Oregon, which is not very good. But they beat Arizona State. I think this might be a little more competitive. I mean, I'd still lean with SC, but I don't know if I'm going to play this one. And I'd lean the over. I think SC gives up points. I think they score. I think this one goes over.
Very interesting breakdown. Pac-12 action at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Now we move on to our last game on the card. It is a Conor Mac spot. Pops off at 10 p.m. Eastern. I was excited that Conor Mac had chosen it. San Diego State 4-3 on the season at number 13 ranked. BYU 9-1 on the season. San Diego State bounced back from 2 straight losses with a 29-17 win at home over Colorado State. In this spot, they are 14.5 or 15-point dogs to BYU. They've been much better at home than they have been on the road this season. BYU coming off their first loss of the season, 22-17 at Coastal Carolina. For a team that has put up 44.5 points per game, it was interesting. It was surprising they could only manage 17 against Coastal Carolina. CMAC, I'm happy you have this game on the card. Lavelle Edwards Stadium, Provo, Utah. Take it away.
Yeah, BYU, they went to Coastal Carolina and couldn't get it done. I know me and Jimmy, we were on that. I'm sure, I don't know, John was. I think it was too many points way off the bat.
Absolutely.
And in this spot, I think it's flat. I think they want to – I just don't think they're going to be hyped up for it. Yeah, they have the bigger guys, the older guys. But the Aztecs, man, they're tough. I think this game's tight. I just can't believe it's 15. I love the plus 15 here. And I lean under. And we were going to talk about it. That's what I was talking about with Nolly. They've given up some points early in the last few games, and nothing in this game has gone under. Just it did it in the UNR game, and I had 46.5. It went under last week. I lean the under 50.5 right now, or 51. I see a bunch of different numbers at different books. I think Agnew does a good enough job at quarterback for San Diego State. They're going to want to run the ball. Their defense, it might get torched a little bit by Wilson, but not much. They seem to second half play a lot better defense, San Diego State. They're really locked down. I think they hang in this ball game. I think it's way too many points at San Diego State. So I love the Aztecs here, plus 15, and I'm probably going to take the under because I've only lost once all year. Like Nolly, I take it every week. I'm like 7-1, San Diego State unders. So just go with it again.
I get the under a lot. I've been so disappointed with San Diego State, and the injury to Bell at running back has hurt them.
Yeah.
But I certainly wouldn't take the other side. I think
they plug and play though. I mean, I think he was a big deal, but BYU's got a bunch of injuries and COVID problems. They're not very healthy right now. I went through their roster, so they're banged up and just got beat down. I think they might win this game, but I don't think they're going to be up for it to go to San Diego State. It's not an easy place to win.
Nolly Knows backing your move on the under there, CMAC. Interesting. Under at San Diego State, BYU. John Ryan, take it away.
Well, I hear what you guys are saying. The BYU game their loss, the Coastal Carolina, came down to that final play of the game. And I'm sure you heard the counts of the announcers from both schools. and how dramatically different they were. Listening to the BYU announcers call that last play, and also Coastal Carolina. Point being, that was one hell of an emotional game, and to lose in the manner of which BYU did on the last play of the game at the 1 yard line or the 2 yard line, even if it would have been the 7 yard line, it's just a brutal way to lose. And they were, a double-digit favorite. They were double digits.
Yeah.
So when teams that are double digits lose, regardless of location, and they're ranked, that spells hangover in a big way. And I agree with Conor Mac here, and I guess the chat room too is leaning on getting the points. San Diego State does have problems throwing the ball. BYU has no trouble throwing the ball. They're more of a balanced offense. But despite what I said last week, when BYU's players were, the average age of them was older than the coaching staff age of Coastal Carolina, I just have a funny feeling that size is not going to matter here. And if you're a coach at San Diego State, what are you telling the players? We got them right where we want them. They're not going to want to play this game, and we can get after them. And bigger-sized bodies tend to get moved around a lot further than smaller ones when they allow that. So I like San Diego State here with the points. So I agree with Connor. It's just way too many.
Interesting. I guess maybe I should not be so hesitant then, because I like the underlook a lot. As soon as you guys started breaking that down, I was like, okay, I'm going to jump on that. But also adding
I'm on both. I think both are. I mean, I've just been doing San Diego State unders and a few lucky ones, but I just think it's crazy amount of points. BYU's really that much better. I mean, San Diego State can play defense, I think, a little. I think it's a lot. You never know. I think it's just flat spot. Their season was ended.
Yeah.
I think they could win the game. It's just we'll see.
And it's a 32-18 game. So I think I would be interested in the San Diego State team total, which will probably be 17.5, 18. I think they can score 21.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, there you go. There's the late game in Provo, Utah, San Diego State, BYU, and both are experts on San Diego State and the under. That leads us to Saturday best bets. Saturday best bets. Here. And we'll again go with John Ryan. I try to buy CMAC as much time as I possibly can for these best bets.
You're going to go to Connor this time. This one time I'm struggling with it.
But you know what? This with CMAC not wanting, it's like Max Smart with the NCAA not wanting the best bets. It just means that you take it very seriously, and I love that. It's not. I have no qualms that it takes you longer. And
take Iowa, John.
I'm going to take Southern Cal.
USC.
Okay. Yeah, because that was one that I really did like before we even started the show. So you can take Iowa then if you want.
I don't want that one either. We both like that one. I think everybody knows it. Watch the show. Go to odds.com. Watch the show. Little plug there. Anyways,
I'm just gonna quickly.
I'll just stick
because I can get John Ryan a plus number here on -3.5. Unbelievable at FanDuel right now. Unbelievable plus 104. That's crazy. Wow. -3.5 at plus 104 at FanDuel. Okay, C-Mac, take it away.
So we're both on Iowa. We won't take that. I'll just take San Diego State with the plus 15. This already went up a point. And I'm on the under as well, just to let everyone.
I can't get you that plus 15. Let me see. Let me just pop up that 365 because that's also licensed in Jersey, and I can give you that because right now it's just 14.5 at these books. Let me see if I can get you this. We are at.
You don't have a William Hill? No? You just have 365?
Yeah, no, just because we just use the licensed. But
yeah. Okay.
Right, William Hill could.
This might go up a little more. I don't think much, but.
Let's see what I can get you. Just plus 14.5. I can give you low juice though, minus 105 at BetMGM.
All right.
San Diego State plus 14.5, minus 105 at. Oh shit! What the hell did I do that there? So sorry there. Sorry, San Diego State plus 14.5, minus 105 at BetMGM. All right, great stuff, you guys. So in review, best bets for John Ryan: Thursday, Friday, Arizona State minus 10 at minus 110, and Saturday USC minus 3.5 plus 104 at FanDuel. CMAC best bets: Marshall minus 19.5. That's Thursday, Friday action, and then for Saturday action, San Diego State plus 14.5 at BetMGM. Thank you guys so much, everybody rolling with us. Very, very thankful for rolling with us here. Odds. Alex Ramirez, Conor Mac in our chat as well. Cash Action Bet, Sebastian Cornwell, Real Jolly Roger, DJ Big Boss, Birdie, Nolly Knows, Under the Weather, still in our chat. Thank you for rolling with us, Nolly. It is a treat, absolute treat. The Czar in the house. Cash Action Bets, David Sharp. Thank you guys. Amsterdam, What Else? Cameron Troop, Marlon Z, Arthur Mead Jr. Thank you guys for rolling with us. And John Ryan, any last words for these great cappers?
No, just appreciate your support of our show. Our show is getting bigger and bigger each week, and I'm glad that we're producing winners for everybody, because that makes it easier to look into the mirror. But has anybody seen DJ? Because I need to talk to that boy.
He's here. He's not far away. He's right there. I'm sure you guys will go back in action on Saturday. C-Mac, any last words before we put a bow on this?
Nah. No, of course. I love you guys. Everyone in the chat, the show. I love it. You guys have been great. Hit me up on Twitter. I love breaking down anything. Like I said, I love getting emails talking about football, basketball, anything. So just hit me up. And I love doing the show on Mondays with you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. At Conor Mac Picks is Conor's Twitter. Please follow him. And also at John Ryan Sports 1. At John Ryan Sports 1. Follow our guys on Twitter. Best of luck this week. Let's have a big, big week. And we'll see you for more college football talk on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. with John Ryan, DJ Big Boss, and the Big Ragu. Until then, get paid in full. Good luck on Monday night.